Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni, the Great Malawite, also known around here as Mr. Efeni. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai. You guys have been doing singing competition. I won't join you.
Don't just sing in Urobo. As I told you, Urobo is not recognized by the Constitution.
This is your anti-Urobo sentiment. We'll deal with it. But I know you like Urobos. Now, Ruben, if you are now...
I think you should give him one Oguta song.
No, if he's now talking of the price of Tatashe crayfish, then we should be worried. But I know, Ruben, it is not as bad as that. You are only concerned about the masses. Because these things we're talking about, bourgeois like Ruben, they are insulated by the size of their pockets. Yeah. But let's just... look at these
empty pockets.
The pandemic of the empty pocket. Now let's start the review with these days. Nigeria's newspaper of record. Well, a number of cheery news on the front page of this day. Now, above the masthead, NUPRC announces addition of 1.07 billion barrels to Nigeria's crude oil reserve, 2.573 trillion cubic feet to gas stock. Oil reserves to last 68.01 years. Gas to last 97.99 years. Nigeria now holds 33% of Africa's total gas deposits. Commission sets new guidelines for domestic crude obligations to local refineries. Here's the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulation Commission, the DG there, Mr. Komolafe, reading off these figures, which you will clearly term progress in the right direction. If we still have a lot of stock of gas, of course, Nigeria is even more of a gas region than oil. But what we have done with this gas thus far is something that we should also be worried about. A nation that is so blessed will be talking of shortage of gas to power plants and other concerns that need gas to function. But again, we take this as an upbeat news. Just like the next story, just below the masthead. In cheering news, NSA announces release of remaining 22 Guzo University students. Says mass abduction of Nigerians, never again. 10 years after Chibok, UNICEF seeks action to secure children's education. Well, if the National Security Advisor is saying never again will students be abducted en masse like we have seen in recent times. Yes, we want to believe that the structure is being put in place to ensure that this does not happen again. Not just expressing a wish, because it will be a sad story if after this kind of never again pronouncement, we hear that some bandits storm a village and move in droves with children who have come to learn. Now, the lead story. Naira appreciates to 7-month high, 1,000 Naira to the dollar at parallel market. Inflation rose 33.20% in March. Rising food commodities, energy prices responsible for surge in CPI. Consumer CPI, right? Now, food index hit 40.01%. Severe in Kogi, Bauchi, Kwara, others. Well, the Bureau of Statistics released these figures yesterday, the inflation figures, and things are not abating. So despite the appreciation of the Naira, inflation still going upwards. Now, the appreciation of the Naira at 1,000 naira to the dollar, I don't know whether we should celebrate. But if only we just consider the fact that the naira was heading towards 2,000 a couple of, just about a month ago. Perhaps that's why this firming up of the naira looks like a cherry news. It's not as though this is the value of the naira Nigerians want to see. But we need to produce more and more foreign exchange to strengthen the naira. Whether the federal government measures to bring in more effects into the system, it will be sustained or is sustainable, remains to be seen. But the Business Day is reporting this story. Stronger naira fails to put food on tables. Yes, Nigerians, many Nigerians, millions of Nigerians across the country are feeling the pains of Tinubunomics, because that is what it is, the policies of this government, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the Business, they rightly captured that, because if you tell the average Nigerian that the naira is gaining strength, they will ask you, will naira, strong naira help? That's what they will ask you, because they are not feeling the impact, or rather, it's the other way around. Now, another story on the front page of the Business Day. Power sector troubled as grid collapses 9 times under Tinubu. Well, whatever policy the government is putting in place for this revamp of the power sector, obviously, it is not working yet, or it has not worked. As power shortage, of course, heralded by this grid collapse in recent weeks, 2 words are becoming buzzwords leading to darkness. Banned, grid collapse, all pointing in one direction, more darkness than light. Now, the Guardian newspaper also has on its front page, household groan over food prices as inflation defies intervention. And of course, the other story there, National Grid suffers third collapse, worsen 20 hours power target. The Vanguard newspaper also bemoaning the fate of Nigerians, more pressure on pockets as food inflation rises to 40%. High electricity tariff to drive further rise. Analysts, is bad for business. Nasima, small businesses to lose capital base. Asborn, Association of Small Businesses of Nigeria. Now, other stories on above the masthead of the Vanguard newspaper. Okwama, army lacks powers to deny Oborowori journalists access. That's access to Okwama. Delta stakeholders, Falana, are saying federal government still subsidizing petrol in trillions of naira. Ex-Governor Nasir El-Rufai, the immediate past governor of Kaduna State, where Rufai, you have always been singing this song of subsidy is still there. And El-Rufai is just concurring with you.
100% correct.
Yes. Now, below the photograph, Oyo invasion. Yoruba Nation sponsors promise to end my hunger. Female suspects. We don't regret our actions. Defiant suspects. Local security outfit discovers hideouts. Makinde hails security agencies for peace in Oyo. Now, the Punch newspaper, vandalism worsens grid collapse as gas shortage slashes power supply. The Nation newspaper, Ibadan attack. Police launch manhunt for Abiola's widow. Other backers of violent agitators on security radar. Suspects to be charged with treason, terrorism. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, 4 ex-governors, 21 other senators sponsor no bill in 10 months. They should wake up. Analysts, breakdown of ex-governors bill in Senate. Of course, some of these ex-governors will just use The National Assembly, the Senate, as their new address, contributing nothing according to this report. 4 ex-governors, 21 others, senators sponsor no bill in 10 months. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper, Ganduje's purported suspension. We were impersonated. 27 World Chair says as Kanu APC counter, sack them all. 1. They will take legal action against impostors. NNPP, Ganduje suspension, welcome. If, yes, Abdullah Ganduje, the chairman of the ruling party APC, of course, having his own trials and travails there in Kano. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly, just one or two. Financial Times, US and Europe in frantic diplomacy to deter Israel from striking back at Iran. IDF vows action after attack. Allies line up sanctions on Tehran. Regime does not want escalation. Now, the Guardian newspaper of London, Iranian attack will be met with a response, says top Israeli general. Of course, the New York Times is reporting Trump hush money trial opens. Former President Donald Trump. More scandals, more trials, but he has a way of riding the tide to rally up his base. Ruben Rufai Ayo.
Well, I'm told that we've run out of time, but clearly, you know, big story about President Trump, first American president, former American president, to face criminal trial. Well, he says it's an outrageous thing, but let's see how that plays out, because the court in Manhattan, New York, is now about to select the jury. That's one. But the other bigger issue is about Iran. You know, the Prime Minister is advising caution, and he says they will not blacklist, you know, Iran or the Islamic Revolutionary Guards, will not be declared a terrorist group in order to keep
the diplomatic channel open
of communication open. But the world is at a more perilous place than it had been 2 years ago or since October 7, 2023. So all of us have a duty to push for global peace.
Yes.
Global peace should be the objective.
Yeah, as I was coming in, the wires were reporting that Iran saying there will be no restraint in their response to any attack from Israel.
Okay, so where does that leave us? It leaves us with World War III, and then the religious among us will be looking for the Antichrist, whose emergence had been long